On October 22, 2009, the calm in the quiet Snell Isle suburb of St. Petersburg, Florida, was shattered by the discovery of local lawyer Ben Cleveland, 33, dead inside his residence. An intricate web of lies, betrayals, love triangles, and secrets was exposed by this unexpected and horrific tragedy. Ben's wife, Francesca Cleveland, became embroiled in a controversy that rocked the neighborhood and revealed the sinister reasons for the murder. Francesca called 911 desperately the night of the murder to report that she had discovered her husband dead in the living room. First responders found Ben on the ground with a deep gash to his throat and Francesca beside him, drenched in blood and sobbing uncontrollably. It was a horrifying sight. Everything in the room seemed jumbled, like there had been a huge fight. Assigned to the case were detectives Dara McLaughlin and Sean Henley, who quickly came to the conclusion that this was not a straightforward case of home invasion or robbery. The absence of any indications of forced entrance implied that Ben was familiar with his assailant. McLaughlin started interviewing Francesca, who said she had returned from a stroll in the shopping center to see her husband dead. Henley conversed with the neighbors in the meantime, who claimed to have heard screaming and other sounds coming from the residence that evening. The detectives worked on the case more over the next 3 days, compiling a timeline of Ben's final hours. They learned that he had left work early that day, at 5 p.m., and was clearly distressed. Ben was a rising star in the corporate legal field, renowned for his drive and ambition. Nevertheless, McLaughlin and Henley came to the conclusion that his professional connections had nothing to do with the murder after conducting additional research. When Francesca was questioned once more, doubts started to arise about her account of what happened. She claimed that after spending the afternoon shopping at the neighborhood mall, Tyrone Square, she had returned at 7 p.m. to discover Ben dead. Francesca was helpful during her testimony. However, she avoided making eye contact and appeared frightened. The security cameras in the mall also refuted her account. Francesca comes from an affluent family in Lombardy, Italy, and her background study found that she went to the US at the age of 18 to pursue a career as a model. Her first marriage failed, as did her union with Mitchell Abbott, a potential real estate developer. Mitchell asserted that Francesca's lavish lifestyle and adulterous affairs were the reason behind the divorce. Ben was disturbed to learn that Mitchell and Francesca had been spotted together recently, suggesting that Mitchell was still feeling something for her. The investigators became interested in this problematic relationship between Francesca and Mitchell and chose to look into it more. Not far from there, in an apartment complex called Clearwater, Mitchell appeared genuinely shocked to learn of Ben's death when he was contacted by the authorities. Although he gave a weak alibi and suspicions about him mounted, he claimed to have passed the night alone at home. Henley conducted an interview with Cindy Cleveland, Ben's younger sister, concurrently. A few days prior to the murder, Cindy and her brother, who depended on him financially, had a falling out. Cindy denied any involvement in the crime, but she did acknowledge under questioning that the conflict was about money and that Ben had threatened to cut her off financially. Her alibi, meanwhile, was also faulty because no one could corroborate that she was actually at the club where she claimed to have spent the night. Given Cindy's tense relationship with Ben, Mitchell's flimsy alibi, and Francesca's suspicious behavior, the investigators were aware that they were dealing with a complicated case with many underlying motives. Ben and Francesca appeared to be the ideal pair at first, with a lovely home and a busy social life, but the truth was quite different. Ben was too preoccupied with his profession to devote any time to marriage, and Francesca, whose modeling career was in decline, was seeking security in her finances. The inquiry also showed that Ben had lately made several major financial transfers, sending sizable quantities of money to assist with Francesca's debt repayment. Furthermore, Francesca's bank records revealed questionable transactions and extravagant spending, which suggested that she was getting ready to move out and start over. The police started to think that Mitchell's reconciliation with Francesca might be connected to something more than friendship while he stayed hidden. Henley and McLaughlin also discovered an important clue as the layers of deceit and manipulation came apart. a string of texts between Francesca and Mitchell that disclosed intentions for a covert meeting and a revived romance. "We need to get this out tonight," Francesca wrote to Mitchell the day of the murder. Ben is unable to learn. Equipped with this fresh data, the investigators went up against Francesca and Mitchell one by one. Under duress, Francesca admitted to the crime but denied having anything to do with the murder. Mitchell, meanwhile, persisted in his not guilty plea and asserted that the texts had been misread. Further questionable data surfaced when McLaughlin examined Francesca's phone records and bank transactions. A few days prior to the murder, Francesca had taken out a sizable life insurance policy in Ben's name and transferred a sizable amount of money to an offshore account in her name. These results implied that Francesca was preparing a significant financial takeover. Call logs and text exchanges between Francesca, Cindy, and Mitchell in the days preceding the murder provided vital evidence. These exchanges suggested that the three of them were part of a sophisticated plot, with Francesca at its core. Mitchell seemed to be the one carrying out the plan, but the communications that Francesca and Cindy exchanged the night of the murder plainly connected them to the pivotal moment. The detectives made the decision to confront Cindy, Mitchell, and Francesca with the gathered evidence as the conspiracy became more and more obvious. Cindy acknowledged that she had fallen in love with Francesca, and that the two of them had planned to steal Ben's money and flee together when they were presented with the evidence. She persisted in denying any direct role in the crime, nevertheless. Conversely, Mitchell later admitted that he had attacked Ben out of envy, sparked by what Francesca had promised. When Francesca saw that her deceit was beginning to fall apart, she at last acknowledged that she had tricked Mitchell and Cindy. Knowing that Ben still harbored affections for her, she used Mitchell as a pawn in her scheme to get rid of Ben so she could keep the insurance money and start a new life with Cindy. The detectives were eventually able to put together the puzzle of deceit and manipulation that resulted in Ben Cleveland's murder after they obtained the confessions. Dissatisfaction and the need for financial independence drove Francesca and Cindy to forge a risky alliance, and Mitchell's obsessive affection for Francesca made him the tool used to remove Ben. Even so, the inquiry revealed that the case involved much more than a straightforward tale of greed and betrayal. It revealed the depths of human frailty and the disastrous results of unchecked yearning. After subsequently admitting to their roles in the crime, Mitchell Abbott and Francesca Cleveland received life sentences without the prospect of release. Cindy was released without being charged with Francesca's murder, even though she had an emotional link to her and had been involved in the original plan. In the end, what started out as an inquiry into a startling murder in a peaceful neighborhood evolved into a sinister story of passion, treachery, and the deadly results of self-centered decisions. Cindy was left to bear the wounds of a failed love, while Francesca and Mitchell paid the ultimate price. If you're fascinated by true crime stories that reveal the darkest corners of human nature, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned for more chilling cases, in-depth analysis, and the real stories behind the headlines.